We're learning kinks today.
And it's like, you know who the I am?
Hills Mafia.
Nerds, man.
That will your bitch. Not regular gay. RFK approved.
It's like titties, it's worth it.
HR does not exist anymore. Now we're good. That's why we got that nice mic now on top, because I learned lessons.
Don't want to miss anything.
No.
Yeah, Boy Scout.
Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unsubscribed Podcast. I'm joined today by Eli Doubletap, Mr. Kevin Brittingham, Brendan Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator, also known as King Trout.
It's like I can still hear his voice.
Donut died.
Tragic car accident.
It just starts like that. It's like, God dang.
The death of Donut.
Okay. There we go. Now we got it all buckled in. It is cold. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Dude, it's a boy. Kevin's back. Kevin, it's been, what, a year? How long ago?
Maybe. I don't know, a year and a half.
It's been, at least a year.
We had just moved into this house, I think. Right?
I wasn't sure.
I don't know. Yeah, something like that.
I'm drawing blanks. Drawing blanks. It was good to have you back, buddy.
It's nice to see you.
Dude, we accidentally ran into each other.
Yeah. The Boston live show. We're like halfway through our second string of the live tour, and we're heading to Boston. And or excuse me, we were heading to Boston from Atlanta. And then I see a guy across the bar. I was like, damn, that guy kind of looks like Kevin. And then we do the whole like Spider-Man meme, like, hey, wait, oh, it is Kevin. Where were you coming back from?
Well, General Herrera. I was
God damn it.
Africa. So yeah, we were just flying back from Africa. We were doing some, testing, hunting, shooting, good times. So yeah,
very nice.
It was weird to run into you guys all at the bar. Well, it was not strange to run into you at the bar, but at the airport, flying the same place. Yeah, so it was cool.
We might, you missed the Boston show. You're like, I'm going. And then we started day drinking, morning drinking, let's be honest. And then fly drinking and then landing. And then you were pretty spent after that.
Well, I think so. Look, we'd been hunting in I'd been in Africa for probably 6 or 7 weeks. And then the flight's very long.
I'm going to put that right here.
Yeah, and the mic is closer now.
Treat it like a dick. Like that. Now we're good. Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
So no, I was so hyped to see you guys. I want to come down to the Boston show, but then halfway back, when I land in Boston, it's an hour to my house, and halfway there, I'm falling asleep, and I'm like, I've been traveling for like 36 hours. There's no way I'm
fuck that.
Going to Boston till 2 a.m.
No hurt feelings on that one. Fuck that travel.
So I apologize, but I really wanted to see you guys, but not that badly.
Yeah, same. Dude, the traveling is so taxing. It seems like an easy thing. You're like, oh, you're only landing and talking to people and then flying and landing. Everyone is dead by night 3.
Shit cooks you.
Well, yeah, that. When I come home from Africa, I fly from the ranch 3 hours to Johannesburg and land and go through all there to go through the airport with guns and all things, then fly 17 hours to Atlanta, and then land in Atlanta, go through all that shit again, then fly 2.5 hours to Boston, and then drive an hour. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
No,
it's worth
that.
It's like titties. It's worth it.
I ain't flying that far for titties.
Well, you're just not committed to being heterosexual.
See my gun.
This guy wouldn't fly 17 hours for tits.
See what I mean?
That'd be fucking miserable.
Fuck.
But we had a really good day today. Just warning, this is gonna be a very autistic episode with just find out. Brandon's so hyped for it. We didn't get to experience it, but it is very rare to have a firearm actually just surprise the shit out of you like that. From the weight to the recoil to the sound. We were side by side shooting machine guns, all suppressed without ear pro, and it was
a rifle caliber machine, not submachine.
Yeah. Which rifle was this?
Well, before we say that, it's like, at first when you started complimenting it, I was very touched, but I was like, wait, you expected it to suck or not be great? Yeah. And it's like, you know who the fuck I am? No, it's the boombox, and then we were shooting a contract version of the Honey Badger that's select fire and only subsonic, and they are so good. The boys did a good job.
They are dialed, and you're like, how much do those weigh? Like,
well,
fully loaded?
The Honey Badger is probably 4.5 pounds, and the boombox with the 12-inch barrel is under 6. No, how heavy are they, Mitch? 5.5. What about the 8-inch gun? So 5 pounds, but takes a 308 mag, and I mean, you guys felt it. 8.6. I mean, those are big, heavy bullets, and how easier is that gun to shoot?
Just for reference, I held it out with one hand. It was just going like that.
Yeah, but look, you work out.
But it is like fucking Finn. He got behind the gun.
Yeah.
He was like, is it like, what's it gonna? He shoots it. He's like, oh my God. This is a 22.
The boombox?
Yeah, like the
boombox.
8.6.
What? So, to anybody who may not know, what is the boombox?
Well, it's all my idea, design, and hard work. Mitch did none of it. So it is
humble. I too am extraordinarily humble.
Yeah, there you go,
I mean,
Mitch. Flip him up.
It's just the greatest gun ever. You know, we did the Honey Badger a long time ago, and that was to replace the MP5. So a 9mm sub gun with rifle capability, but still is quiet with subsonic ammo. It's like the MP5 SD. And so what the boombox is the next generation of that, in my opinion. It's an AR-15 size, a lightweight AR-15, but takes a 308 mag, and it's in 8.6 Blackout, a cartridge we developed. So, you know, a 6.5 Creedmoor case with a 338 bullet in it. So you can have a 400 grain subsonic bullet or down to 160 grain supersonic. So you can shoot people at 600 meters or with subsonic to 300 meters. And it's slightly larger and heavier than the Honey Badger. And it just, the operating system that Mitch did and's worked on for several years now, it's, you're shooting that round and it feels like you're shooting an MP5. But it's, I don't know, what, 30%, 40% lighter than an MP5. So it's pretty remarkable. I mean, I think it's like what all the things we try to do, you know, is, it's like I was telling them today, we only have production and sell guns to fund the R&D that we want to do.
Dude, it's the level of slap. You cannot say how hard it was hitting that the hostage target. You know, the floated head.
Yeah.
It fucking slaps that
motion.
motherfucker.
You had like the dueling tree, like the spinners. It would smack one at the very top, and all of them would just shake and jostle like on the entire tree.
And it feels like you're shooting like a 45.
I don't get impressed by many guns anymore. You know how that is. Just, you know, you shot everything under the sun, and it's just like, oh, like that's cool. And like certain things can be cool, but they don't really impress you very much. Yeah. I was impressed.
Thank you.
It is quiet. But how big the round is, I mean, you're shooting out of a 308 magazine. It is probably, especially in full auto, I was blown away. That was more controllable in full auto than some 5.56 guns I've shot. And still lighter than a lot of the 5.56 guns.
Yeah, you're holding on target. There's 20 rounds you could hold down, and we were like 30 yards. How far were we? 20 yards?
Probably about 30 yards, yeah.
30 yards, all full auto, just, and they all hit the steel. And it is very loud. The only loud part is the steel getting slapped really loud.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, I know we're all so proud of it at our place, and especially, you know, with my attitude. But, you know, I expect us to do stuff that no one else has done, and I expect us to be awesome. But it is, no matter my expectation, when you go to the range and you shoot it, that's where the proof is, right? And then other guys like you guys that know guns and shoot a lot, when you're that excited about it when you shoot, and it's because it is different, and you can't fucking fake it. You know, it's like, it looks like an AR. It's just not. Everything on it is different. It's years out of Mitch's life and a lot of the other engineers that helped him work on it. And it's the only way you get there. You can't fake it. Like, you have to do all of the work, and it's a pain in the ass. Like, getting that last little 5% that makes the gun that special to when you pick it up and shoot it, you know it's different. Like, that's all the hard work, you know.
And that's even something as simple as the charging handle. Mitch, you were talking about, like, even something that they had to walk that in, and that was one of the hardest pieces, correct?
Yeah, difficult. It was difficult, but just a setback that we didn't want to waste time on, but it had to be correct.
Charging handle, like shit, you just don't think. I was like, well, it needs to seal. I'm assuming it was to seal better.
Well,
Actually, no, just to keep it latched and in place because the gun's so light. It's very high recoil for a lightweight platform. So.
High recoil, liar.
initially, but yeah, then how soft does it shoot? You know, and I mean, it's one of those rare things where you have ultra lightweight and compact, very shootable. Low recoiling, easy to control. It doesn't make any sense. But again, the only way you get there is just devote years to going that extra little bit.
It's like the triangle where it's like you have low recoil, lightweight, and heavy caliber. And normally you can pick any two.
Yeah, I agree.
But you can't get all three.
Yeah.
And that somehow has all three. And that was the coolest part, I think, to me.
Yeah, I think it is too, and I mean I think it's all a testament to really our engineering department and the hard work and just the dedication of we are going to do this no matter how hard it is, and as long as I can afford to pay everyone every month, like we're going to go until the gun's right, And we've said before we could have shipped it a year and a half or 2 years before we did, but the gun is so much better waiting. So not having as the guy that owns the company, I get to make the decision, right? And I would rather wait and it be awesome because I want that HK reputation to where if we put something out, you're going to buy it, you're going to know it's good, and that takes a long time to develop that reputation, but we can't compromise for like quick money today. And every gun that we do, every new project has to be better than the last one we did, no matter how good it was. And that's how we're going to earn it, and I feel it now. I mean, we all do at the company now. And we've got 17 engineers at a company our size, which is pretty incredible. And, which causes me not to get a pay raise ever. But it's the great thing. I much prefer like what we're doing and to win than, just the money today. Like I don't ever want to not work. So I have to own the company because I'm probably unemployable. And I have to control the company because then we can make those decisions. You don't have finance running the business and saying, shit, we got this much money invested. We got to get a return now. Investors, I don't have investors saying that shit to me.
It's like we were talking about earlier, like anytime like a founder leaves or sells a company or dies, things start going to shit. Because as soon as you leave that stuff up to a board, they're not here for what will this company be in 10 years? They're usually here for how do I show the best Q3 return?
Margins. I want margins. And you get that, and you're saying you have that 17, and that's it. And then the engineers are out at the range with us having a blast. But these they are like breaking down the gun of like, hey, we need to refine it. We need to make it better. And instead of like a AAA studio where it's like, well, that's close enough. We'll fix it as we release Gen 2, Gen 3. You guys are like, no, make it perfect as it releases. And then you guys are, anyone that's watching that's like, we can't wait to buy one right now. They're fucking backlogged.
Yeah.
They're like, how many backlogged right now?
It's thousands at this point.
It's a good fucking place to be.
Yeah. And it was shocking to us, really. We know the gun's awesome, but it's, MSRP on the gun's $4,400. So it's like
without the suppressor.
Without the suppressor. It's like, how many can we actually sell on the commercial market? And then, this is the beginning of the gun because this is just 8.6 Blackout 12 inch is all we have out now. But there's an 8-inch. You guys shot the SD today. Then there's 6 Creedmoor, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308. So it's a whole weapons platform that we'll do because it's just a switch barrel. You don't even have to. Did you guys see all that stuff today?
No, we didn't take it apart. Well, we broke it down and field stripped it, but we didn't take the barrel out.
Okay, yeah. So the barrel comes out. It's not a traditional AR with the barrel nut and everything. So you can just switch it to a different caliber, sort of like you can with the SCAR.
I did not know that.
So, but a much better system, and it's all tied together. Just the gun is a whole system. Like we're talking about, it's the stiffest rail ever on a small arm. So, and being that lightweight. So, for the military guys with lasers and stuff like that, you load the handguard, you're not getting POI shift with it. And so, these guys also developed the test, like the Geisley handguard is very stiff and some others on the market military use. So we had to devise the test for deflection and then return to zero of the handguard. And so we do all this testing and we'll release it in a documentary about development of the gun, but we have to develop the fixtures and the testing. Like the government's not done this, so we do it, and then we show the government. And it's like, yeah, so this doesn't return to zero, and this does, and this is why this is designed this way. You know, a lot of people love the LMT, right? Cool gun. It's that one-piece receiver in the board, but it makes it big and heavy, and it's no stiffer. And, you know, like having engineers and doing that development and then developing these tests, and then we know. You know, Mitch, like I said today, isn't afraid to come to the range with you guys because he's done so much testing. We know what the gun is.
I have a dumb question.
Sure.
So you've developed rounds and rifles, so the 8.6, 300, but do you develop like the Honey Badger around the 300 Blackout, or did you develop the round and then created a rifle in regards to that? Does the round come first or the rifle?
It's the chicken or the
An age-old question.
It's a good question. And what happened was 300 Blackout, we were asked to do it. Basically take 300 Whisper, and it wasn't reliable.
which I'd never heard of that round.
Really?
I did not know that was a thing until you said that today.
Yeah, and we did that for a special operations group here in the U.S. And
Which one?
yeah,
The one.
the best one.
That was great. The best one.
Well, Terry's here.
Terry just waved. Terry's just waving at the camera.
You know, I have two children that I love a lot, and one's blue and one's green. And you know, when the blue one's here, you say they're the best.
We're not gonna name names. We'll lose this.
Yeah, and so they asked us to do it, and we built. So we did the round, and basically we just need to. The problem with 300 Whisper was it used 308 bullets, and they were too short and too wide, so the OJI was wrong. And so the front rib in the AR magazine will push it to the center and away from the feed ramps. And then when the bullets are too short and doesn't take up the full magazine, they move in there, and that also induces malfunction. So we needed to do bullets that were the right length and shape to feed reliably. And that was pretty much what the engineering work was.
Which is hilarious because a lot of people that make 300 Blackout now do the same fucking shit that was the problem in the first place.
Hornady just released 10 years after they made loaded the first rounds for what years? 14? No, fuck no. 12 years after 13 years after they loaded the first round worth.
What fucking year is it?
But they just this year released the first actual 300 Blackout round. They're
Jesus
still
Christ.
selling 300 Whisper, and they put 300 Blackout on the box. And then people bitch at me about it not being reliable. Send me a picture of your ammo. Yeah, well, that's 300 Whisper. Like, yeah, it doesn't. So 300 Blackout mags that Magpul and everyone offers, those are actually 300 Whisper mags, because the front rib that helps align the cartridge, half of it is cut away for the 308 bullets. So we did 300 Blackout to work flawlessly in 5.56 mags. So if you use an actual 300 Blackout ammo, it goes in 5.56 mags. 300 Whisper goes in 300 Blackout mags. So it's all fucked, right? There wasn't a standard. But anyway, we did that, and we sold uppers and silencers to this organization to go on their guns, which were HK AR variant gun. And so after they adopted it, I go to his brother and I say, yo, you know, your brother just got uppers for their guns. How about you? And they're like, nah, we don't need that. And so being the two groups I worked with a lot, I knew their inventory and life cycles and stuff. And I was like, fuck you, man. You're not going to tell me no, this is great. And so we did the Honey Badger, the first prototype, in 2 weeks to take to them. And I took it to them to shoot. And it's like, what is this? And it's like, well, your MP5 SD life cycle is up. So here's like a rough prototype gun that we built for a concept. You can replace that with a 300 Blackout. And so that became the Honey Badger. We did a special gun for them. And that's sort of how it happened.
And that is why a no is really a yes. Kevin Brittingham. Short answer, round first.
Round first.
That'd been wild going from like a 9mm to 300 Blackout. I'd be like, yo, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, and it was almost half the weight of the MP5.
Yeah.
So
Crazy. What kind of MP5s were they using? The SD?
SD, which is right at 8 pounds.
Metal oil.
It's not light.
Heavy bitch.
And the original prototype Honey Badger with the silencer was 4 pounds. So once we got to delivery, the gun was heavier. We made the silencer longer, and they wanted more rail space, and so it got a little heavier, but still with the silencer was 5 pounds.
Fucking wild. Wild. And then Brandon, you yesterday, can you even talk about all the audio stuff you were doing?
No. It's a great story. We recorded some audio for some really cool people over at Drive Tanks. And it was just really neat to be included and see. Oh, actually, to tie it in, it was neat to see how a professional sound studio and sound engineers record audio for gunshots, weapon cycling, brass landing, like that. And that brings us back to what we first talked about, I think, when we first had you on the podcast, is how a lot of your collection was used for the sounds of movies like Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan. That's been so long now. I think that was 97. And then Black Hawk Down, Pearl Harbor, Band of Brothers.
Which I just watched Black Hawk Down again on the flights when we were doing the Unsub Live tour. I always forget, like, it's always a couple years and then I watch it again. Just how good of a fucking movie that was.
That's wonderful. It causes me anxiety though. But the sounds, it is cool. Like it's extraordinary because this was Skywalker Sound that did all of the sounds for those movies, and just the detail and just length of just how difficult it was. Everything you could think of, shooting into all kinds of materials, and then the brass and the links landing on different materials.
Yep.
All the bullet impacts. It was pretty cool.
It was really neat, the variety that they would do, because they had these people had like 40 microphones out there at different distances, several attached to the different guns that were being shot, and they had like multiple channels at any point, because they're like, well, it's going to sound different if somebody is in a window versus next to a wall versus outside of a window versus outside. Like, they want all the different sounds to make sense. And I don't know, I just appreciate when people have that kind of attention to detail, because they don't have to.
That's how you get the best product. I mean, watch any war movie up until Private Ryan and then watch that movie.
Yep.
Like, the sounds scare the shit out of you in that movie. Like, it's so realistic compared to every other war movie I'd seen up until then.
Because in the 80s, like Rambo 2, Red Dawn, like, those are some of they're great movies.
Yeah.
But they're 80s movies. Like, the sound is fucking dog shit.
That was the first one, and then you seen that, you sent a photo, and it's just, I was like, there it is. You get to see all the cool equipment into like one single sound, and that is tens of thousands of dollars to record those individual sounds and the level of detail they go in.
And those guys are masters of their craft.
Oh,
I wish I could talk about who it was, but they are really good at it. And they were like, we don't get the return on investment to do this, but we want to. We do it because it, like, fucking love of the game. They're like, we want to do this.
You get to watch those guys. A really good one is Godzilla, the 2008 or whatever one, a recent one.
Of course, you'd bring this to Godzilla.
Dude, the sound design into it, the sound design of even the monsters, where they're like, oh, well, how is this thing gonna breathe? If we run a piece of rubber over a basketball, that will be that little sound for breathing, and then we'll slow it down.
Foley stuff.
Oh yeah, and it's one thing. It's just like hundreds of layers to get one piece of audio. And you're like, God dang, I would have never thought. Just layer on layer on layer.
Nerds, man. That's the people that do that shit.
Have you always the 8.6? Have they picked it up already to be in any of the video games, or they're just going to snag it and then you're going to find out later?
No, I did work with Infinity Ward that does some of the Call of Duties back a dozen years ago, but I don't know what's happened there. But they stopped calling it the Honey Badger, and it wasn't because of me. Like, of course, I wanted to use the name Honey Badger, but they changed all the names. And
I can actually tell you why on that one.
Yep.
Yeah,
so this is, at least to my understanding of it, from what I've been able to pick apart, I think that they were named as a plaintiff, one of the people that was sued after one of the school shootings. Because, it's not the shooter's fault. It's obviously the fault of whoever made the gun, who made the ammo. I think at one time they sued whoever made the gun safe that they stored their guns in, and they're suing the violent video games, and they're going to sue every fucking person under the sun. But it was enough that Call of Duty's attorneys were scared shitless, and so they were like, they didn't want to be seen as working or collaborating with gun companies from that point.
Yeah, because I know I did it originally, and so I still had that relationship when I went to SIG, when I worked at SIG, and they were absolutely against. I could not work with a video game company because they were afraid of marketing to children, was what SIG told me.
No, well, I guess if you're an attorney, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you're a lame ass attorney, yeah.
Because
What led to the development of the 8.6?
You know, my kids like Terry. You know, it's. I mean, seriously, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's bigger, better. Like it kills better.
Yeah.
And you know,
Have you seen it
I've not.
in person? Do we have one in here?
You get
It's
around?
fucking rad. If we can compare it to like a 5.56 or anything.
But yeah, always trying to do something that like the guys don't even know they need yet, or they don't know it exists, and not waiting for solicitations, trying to develop product for them to make solicitations around. You know, like I spend half my life hunting now. Like I'm in Africa 6 months a year, and all I do is kill shit all the time. And part of that is like I want my buddies to have the best chance possible to, you know, go do their stuff and all come home. And so we think about that constantly. And the good part of that is, you know, not everybody hunts, right? But there's self-defense or home defense and all this. And, you know, it doesn't really discriminate if it's a 200-pound whatever. And
200-pound anything.
Insert.
So a lot of shit weighs 200 pounds.
A lot does.
Name that Pokemon.
Well, I just ask because it feels like not many companies or people are like in round development.
No, we probably actually do more than a lot of ammo companies. Here's the thing: we want to build the system, you know, and it's not that we want to develop cartridges. Like just like I don't want to design a trigger, you know, because then I don't want to have to spend 2 years doing drop test. But if what's needed doesn't exist, then it's an opportunity for us. And I think too, the best thing I've done in my career is surround myself with very good people and manipulate them into getting on the bus with me and doing the thing that I want. You know, like I want to accomplish this thing that I can't, but I got to have all these nerds do it. But then it's the real thing. And so I have to keep them engaged. Like Mitch is a real smart kid, but oh my Lord, that engineering department, those geeks. And it's so, but what you realize when you get to a certain level of developing guns or silencers or whatever the thing is what you really want is the whole system. And if I'm not controlling the ammo, you know, or if we don't make the magazine, it's the most vital part of the gun a lot of times. And so it just sort of, I don't know, you get halfway down the road and you either turn around or you got to go all the way.
One thing leads to another type thing.
But
Can I see one of those 8.6s though?
But seeing how successful
just the
300
round?
Blackout was,
which
but
one?
knowing we could,
We have the
the
specials.
theory of that whole thing is good,
Whichever.
but we could do better.
Yeah.
There's a 300 Blackout
That's
and an
what it was.
8.6. Connor, that's a 300 Blackout, which is more your AK, your 7.62 variant.
Or your like 5.56?
Oh, yeah, there's a
basically.
5.56 right here.
Yeah.
Actually,
Oh,
yeah.
That'd be a great comparison.
And that's 8.6 Blackout.
Holy.
And that's one of them expanded.
Yeah, the expanded looks fucking crazy.
So we have 5.56, 300 Blackout, and 8. That's 8.6.
Yeah.
And it's just as quiet as 300 Blackout.
But
Like
it's
you're not-
really hard.
That's after it's been pulled out of an animal. That will fuck your bitch.
Yeah, that thing is just
Almost.
rotating. And now what's more crazy is your standard AR is probably like 1.8, 1.11 twist rate, right?
Oh, we get to talk about twist
5.56.
rate.
Yeah, I know. So you're looking at
110 or 111.
So you're looking at every 10 inches, it will rotate a single time. And then you guys were like, no, let's keep the speed at 900 subsonic, but let's just rotate it every 3 inches it rotates. And then you have this fucking rotating once it opens up at that speed. So you have a drill bit.
There's a lot of good things to the fast twist. You know, the bullets will expand on impact now rather than being 6 inches inside of something. And yeah, you think about that turning if a human is 15 inches here to here like a grown man. You know, if it's a 1 in 10 twist, by the time the bullet expands, it's going to have one rotation inside the body, so that cutting surface. But
Connor, that's the bullet.
but 1 in 3, it turns 5 times.
That's the bullet.
Holy hell. Yeah, it looks like you're putting
Like
a
putting a
blender
bullet next to the
inside
fucking-
somebody.
It is, and the fast twist is actually like having high speed on a blender.
Yeah, a bullet next to a 5.56 round. Holy hell!
And also, like,
just the bullet next to it.
I explained it poorly on a previous podcast, but talking about like how you're able to get more energy out of it because you're doing rotational velocity and not linear velocity.
Yeah, so we can't really create more energy, but it's more efficient use. And rotational energy, so a subsonic rifle cartridge, it has to, you can maximum, let's say it's 1,050 feet a second, generally, to stay subsonic. So you can't go faster in that direction. But if we spin the bullet faster, you know, you have to stop a bullet going this way and this way. And the rate of decay of rotational velocity is much slower than linear velocity. And people don't think about like a 16-inch 308. You know, it might be 2,600 feet a second or 2,500 feet a second. At the muzzle, at 850 yards, it's probably 900 feet a second. Well, I can shoot 8.6 Blackout. I mean, you would never shoot subs at 1,000 yards because you have 160 feet of drop. But
You're in direct fire at that point.
yeah, so it but it'll be 1,050 feet a second at the muzzle, but at 1,000 yards, it'll be 900 feet a second. So yeah, it's faster than
Holy
308
shit.
supersonic once you get to like 800 yards, like linear velocity. So subsonic bullets don't slow down. That's why you get really good penetration with them. And the fast twist also helps with penetration. Just like think about a drill bit, you speed it up fast. So like we'll get, you know, that probably shot a zebra and probably got 30 inches of penetration, or was, well, it didn't pass through because we were covered. But yeah, I mean, I shoot Cape Buffalo with it.
Subsonic.
Subsonic, yeah.
And they drop, I'm assuming, pretty quick.
Well, I mean, I will say I just shot one with sub a week ago, and it was 4 shots into it within a couple of seconds at about 40 yards, and it was dead 30 yards from where I shot it in probably less than a minute. And for a Cape Buffalo, like that's the most durable animal you hunt on the planet.
Out of curiosity, I know it's not designed for that, but how does it do on armor?
Well, this is the first time too there's subsonic armor piercing.
What?
Come again?
There's subsonic armor piercing.
Against what? What kind of what armor are you able to penetrate with it?
Well, we'll see once it's all done.
Oh shit!
But
Redacted.
but you know that's never happened, and it's so quiet. Like you guys shot it and heard it. You think
Yeah.
about being able to pop somebody at 200 yards with that and penetrate armor. So there's a lot we can do with that.
I'm speechless.
I mean, think about like the nano explosive stuff with that. There's so much, you know, capacity in a bullet that size.
That's a lot of payload.
A lot of payload.
God.
So it's a new capability, right? Like
The bullet is the size of a
Bullet, that's
223.
I know.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where do you put the powder?
Around it. Again,
That's
that
fucking
is
crazy. But literally, it's the size. The bullet is the size of the fucking cartridge.
yeah.
again, it's slapping. It is somebody, a human, just punching those steel plates as hard as possible.
Yeah. And you know, we had to do the whole system because we needed 308 size mags to get this cartridge because we wanted everything shot. 99.9% of everything shot on the planet in any capacity is inside 300 meters. So the goal was, what's the most badass thing we can do for 300 meter? So we want 300 meter subsonic. And so AR-10s traditionally, like a 308 size gun, are big and heavy, 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So the problem was the gun and then also the ammo. So we developed the ammo, but it had to be a compact, lightweight gun.
So for clarification's sake, you developed the boombox around 8.6.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you had the fix. You were like, okay, A6, and let's do this now with.
So you developed
Make it work.
the rifle around it.
Yeah, like we love 300 Blackout, but when you think in terms of replacing a submachine gun, it's incredible. When you start to see how useful it is, but then it limits, like with subsonic for 300 Blackout, it's really 100 meters, and supersonic is really 300 meters. We need more than that, and so this is that answer.
I remember talking to you about this probably 2 or 3 years ago. I was with all of my employees. Like once a year, we do like a lake house, like vacation, essentially, just like a week off. We just fuck off somewhere off in some lake house in Indiana. Hey. And it was a couple of years ago, and we were talking about it, and we were just on speaker with my boys, and we were just kind of talking back and forth because a lot of my like more engineer-minded employees and shit. And you were describing 8.6, and like quietly around the phone, it was like the fucking Joe Rogan meme of like, we were all just like, oh, this is gonna be dope when it's out. And I mean, sure enough, it's fucking dope. So it's cool. It's cool.
Well, thank you. You know, I love it because us doing things that are unsolicited or whatever, it's amazing within our industry when we started out doing this and we talked about what it was going to do and then talk about the boombox. Like people who should know better, like didn't believe it, mock us. Like, I don't fucking care. That's fine. We'll see you in a couple of years. You know? But I love it. But yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, when I saw you guys shoot today and you guys look at each other, it's like you can't fake that. Like you guys aren't that smooth. Like if you're like, oh, it's just another AR, like whatever. But yeah,
you just call the actors.
Well, I wouldn't say. I would say like
B tier,
Red Dawn.
Oh, okay.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
It was one of those where Brandon, I just like, holy
Especially the full auto. The full auto, that fucked me up for a minute.
Instantly, we were like,
Well, one of the things you said earlier that kind of stuck with me was the fact that, like, well, 300 Blackout was, of course, like solicited. It was something that somebody asked you to make. You made it, and then you did the Honey Badger with it and everything. The thing that got me about 8.6, you were like, we wanted to make something that nobody was asking for yet, but it was going to be so good that they didn't know they wanted it until we make it, kind of thing. And it reminded me a lot of the like the Henry Ford. He was like, I just made what I thought was great, because if I asked the people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Faster horse. Yeah. Or Steve Jobs with the iPhone. You know, like that wasn't like easy for him. I mean, I think the original ones, what they do, he would let whoever have an exclusive if they wouldn't change the phone because everybody wanted buttons and shit on it. He's like, no, you guys are stupid. Like the whole world is stupid. You don't need buttons. And now, he was just so right. And I don't think it's at that level, but you know, we have a lot of experience, and we've been fortunate that during a time, you know, in our nation when guys were shooting lots of people, you know, we're starting to mature in our jobs and had the opportunity to work with them and just learn a lot. And you start to see, and over time, it's like, rather than just responding to these guys, you understand what they're doing. And it's like, okay, what's the thing they really need? Like, because, you know, most of the guys, they don't understand from our perspective, just like we don't understand from theirs. But once you have that relationship and you start working, it's like they say they want this, but we think, you know, they want this, but we think we can get it here. And, you know, it's also good. Like, I don't ask the government to fund my stuff because then I control it. And I don't, you know, and then at the end, it's like we have this awesome thing. And, if, you know, you guys want to be really good, then you use this.
so dope.
Yeah, it's good. Like,
Turns out
I'm a
shit's easy
fortunate
to
guy.
sell when it's the best.
Yeah, there's always room for the best.
How big is your entire team? Like you have your 17 engineers, but then outside of that with everyone.
The company is around 90 employees.
That's fucking wild. I'm good, bro. Dude, 90 employees. And you have dialed.
I'm good right now, thank you.
You have dialed in employees. So like you have like, hey, we want the top in the trade for this.
Well, you know, it's always a struggle, right? And I think, like, I love our people, I like people in general. And for us, you know, it's always hard as you grow, whether it's anything, you have a team, some people grow with it and some don't. And, you know, that becomes hard, but I think it's like our responsibility. We want to be all-stars. We want to be the best in the world. So we can't have average motherfuckers at our place. And they might be stand out when we're here, but they're average here. And, you know, we want to, you know, I don't want to just hire from the outside. Like, I want to grow our employees and see everybody have awesome lives. Like, I love going to work every day. And this will be my 32nd year in a month from now.
Damn.
And I still wake up every day, can't wait to fucking get to work. With that being said, I'm in Africa half the time. So, but it's probably better for them. But, so dialed in, you know, and every department doesn't grow at the same rate because we don't focus on it the same. And then some, you know, you have some careers or some parts of the business where that particular job is no one's passion or dream, but they love our company. and the culture. And so, like it's never a problem to motivate the engineers, and they're very spoiled. I don't turn them down for money for anything. If I have the money, they can have it for whatever they want. But, half the time it's convincing them to go home or go see their women or whatever.
Oh, you liar.
So, yeah.
They don't know women.
A couple of them.
Engineer with a woman? Fuck off.
But,
All right, I believed you on the stats before that. Now I'm like, nah.
no,
All right.
but it's true. I mean, but I think it's a dream. When we're almost 9 years old, and when we, the first 5 years, it's hard to recruit people because we're new and they might not think it's stable. But now we've had enough success. I can recruit anyone in our industry. Like there's not an engineer I can't hire from any company in our industry.
I bet they're fighting to be part of that team because, like, how is it on your side? You love it. Yeah. How long have you been with Q now?
At the beginning.
And you, exactly. That's fucking wild.
And what would it take for you to go work at another gun company?
If you went to another gun company, you convinced me.
No pressure, but your boss is watching.
No, I'm not that way, But yeah, I mean, I think it's true, and that's not always the thing, but you see it now, and it's like I'm their biggest cheerleader. Like I believe in them more than they do generally.
It's hard finding like employers or employees where you're trying to find that level of like dedication and motivation where they rally around each other, and then they're the ones that's like pushing the envelope, like working hard.
Yeah,
and it sets the standard for the entire team. So you get to see individuals like yourself that are fucking killing it, and then I guarantee all the engineers pretty much on the same
level as what?
Like work ethic and everything.
I think their culture, like the 3 or 4 senior guys, Mitch being one, they're just, they're just full of grit. They don't like me. We're not taking no for an answer. We're going to get it done, and it takes sacrifice if you want to be badass. And they've created that culture. Our guys, they do everything. They run machines. They don't have to, but they do. They all know how. They do everything themselves. They're going to be part of testing. Like right now, I fight with him some because I want parts of the boombox and our vision for it, him to pass some of it off to a junior guy under him. And like, that's hard for him. He's like, fuck no.
You're too autistic.
But, that's what you want in the guys too. It's like, he's so proud of it and it's his baby. And, you want him to feel that way. But yeah, I love marketing and I love engineering, like the development. I don't like business and operations and all that, so I try to stay out of that. But like us hiring a real CO and him being focused on that, and I see the improvements in our production, and I understand now that's what really funds all of our stuff. So I've got a passion for that too. Like, let's get the best people in there that care about the product that they're doing, and they're part of the QC process. And so now I'm sort of, I appreciate it more now. I'm more mature. I appreciate it and support them. And like the people that work in our factory that do the assembly and all that, I go talk to everyone every day. I do everything I can for them because, you don't want them to leave. I don't want them to leave for $2 more an hour. I want them to turn down jobs for $2 more an hour to be at our place. That takes effort on my part. It's like, that's my day. I just walk around, talk to everybody, figure out if anything's going on, and then push our leadership to, hey, this is sort of going on, or this department is lagging behind some of the others. We need to focus on that.
How many total employees do you have right now?
About 90.
He said that when you got up and made a drink, idiot.
When you brought up South Africa earlier, so is your company's based in the States, or when you're in South Africa, what are you doing?
Testing mostly, but yeah, I hunt, so I
Damn,
test.
when I shoot it in the head, it dies.
No.
Scribbles notes.
It's a crayon.
Bullet kill.
X on head.
But it started. I never.
It's just a crude sketch of a zebra with X's for eyes.
But I never hunted until we did 300 Blackout, and then I wanted to so I had a farm in North Georgia, and so I started shooting deer, testing bullets. And that sort of led to the hunting, which I'm passionate about now. But it's still, 90% of my hunting to some degree is testing our stuff. And a lot of it the last few years has been 8.6. Because, it's people, it's the hunting crowd's like every other crowd, right? It's like, oh, it's unethical to shoot something with subsonic. And it was like, Well, maybe back in the day doing this, but what we're doing, but it's also, it takes some motherfucker to go out there and do it before you know it. Like you only know it because some dude, you know, that wasn't ordinary 50 years ago went and did this, and now it's the standard, and that's what you're just regurgitating.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're trying to do new shit, and somebody, like, I'm not going to tell, you know, 30-year-old Terry to, oh, trust me, take this into combat. It's going to be fine, you know, until I've killed stuff with it. So I don't know. I do that and I leave the company alone. So I think me being there half the time is good because like I'm generally very driven, and it's hard for me to see things not happen. And, you know, and I forget, like this is just consumed my entire life for 32 years. And, you know, I don't necessarily want all my guys to have my life. Like the not great part of it, like my personal life's never been awesome. And it's like, well, this is all I do. And so if I'm there, you know, I think it's not good for the company. So I'm there half the time and then I go away for half the time. It gives these guys time to, you know, there's some development process and I can come back and see the results. And the company just outgrew me, you know, and like I'm good at motivating, and it's good for me to be involved in picking products and working with the engineers. And it's good for me, I think, marketing wise. I've always had a knack for it. And the rest of the company, I just try to stay the fuck out of it. You know, I like talking to the people, all the employees every day. I go around and say hello to everyone because I don't want to be blind to things either. So if they have some issue or something and they're telling their manager and it's not getting conveyed up the chain and there aren't changes happening, that pisses me off. So I want every employee to have access to me if it gets to, you know, a situation where something could be improved, but somebody's too lazy to do it or whatever.
Comms are like the most like pivotal part of business.
Yeah.
Really mean it's like everyone, as long as you're communicating, say, hey, I have an issue here, and then that is actually brought to the proper people, shit gets fixed.
It does.
Then you have the other side where it's just nothing happens, and you're like, fuck.
I mean, I think what it does is highlights to me a supervisor that isn't doing the right thing for what I want for the company and the employees and the customers. And, you know, like I said, average is not good enough. Like being good at your job is not good enough to work at my company. And it doesn't mean you start out knowing everything, but you got to have that commitment and willing to sacrifice and grind. And you want to fucking be the best. You want to be proud. I mean, you know, I can think of some girls that work in production. Like they don't fucking shoot and all, but they're so proud of what we do. And they're proud that, you know, like a girl that works in production now, I can think of, came to work about a year ago for us, and she was at SIG for several years. And, you know, what she says to me is she doesn't care about guns, but she loves the production work and doing it. And it bothered her a lot at SIG that they would ask her to ship things with parts she knew weren't right. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's not a thing at my place. I don't care who it is. QC finds it. You know, the people in production find it and, you know, bring it to the engineer's attention. If it's not right, we just don't ship guns that month. You know, and that's another advantage of me not owing anybody money and me controlling the company. You know, I can say, okay, well, I just won't get paid this month.
Fucking dope. Brandon, when you're working with your, like on the AK-50, how was that, like handing off your baby to have, you have a fantastic autistic shop also.
Oh yeah. I no
the
complaints.
dudes that, again, they're just like living and breathing firearms.
No complaints.
That's it.
I got a fucking awesome team. Like we all have the same kind of brand of tism in that way. And it's unfortunately a necessity, especially with what I do and like the way that we live. It's like so much of it is content and having to make videos and things that pay for everything, that pay for the R&D, that pay for the CNC, that pay for all this stuff. I can't be there every day, all day. So I have to have people that I trust, and I'm thankful to have a team that I do trust. But I actually wanted to bring that background. Funny you mentioned that because we have a running joke in the shop that we fucking hate engineers. So much so that we have Chase, I'll send this to you. It's the thing we've got up on the wall. We were given eyes not to judge others, but to spot the stupid engineer. A mouth not to criticize, but to call the engineer a dumbass. Ears not to eavesdrop, but to eat. Hands not to fight, but to kill engineers. And it's funny because like one of the things that you'd mentioned before that I really liked is you said that the engineers are part of every part of the process.
Yes.
Because what starts that animosity against engineers from the guys on the ground is when you have engineers that are designing shit who have no practical experience, that don't know how to machine stuff, that don't know how to assemble things, that basically make impossible shit to put together in real life.
Porsche.
Yeah.
And to have engineers involved in like the machining, the assembly, the testing is really fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, I hold them accountable for everything ultimately because they're the smartest guys at the place. And did you know that when we started the company for the first 2 or 3 years, the engineers who designed the fix, they did all the drawings for the parts, they sourced the parts, they QC'd the parts, they assembled all the guns, they developed all of the assembly fixturing, and then they shot all of them for accuracy on paper 5-shot groups.
Hell yeah.
And so that is so ridiculously like irresponsible financially for me in the short term, right? But long term, we have a product that is so superior. And then when we started hiring assembly people, very quickly they can build guns just as good as the engineers can. Because, you know, the engineers are lazy in some ways. So they'll build fixtures quick to help them assemble shit. And, you know, it's all good. And so they do have relationships with all. And it's not like some of the bigger companies. Like, I don't like the way SIG did their engineering. Because I think all these memes and jokes from machinists and guys that do that kind of work, they hate engineers because the engineers sit in their little office and design something and then
they don't fucking talk.
Yeah, but like Mitch is a machinist. He knows what the fuck can be made. So is Ethan, so is Nick. They know. And then
Makes such a difference. That little thing, like V-dubs, like German engineering on cars. When you actually go to take apart your car, it becomes a fucking frustrating. Jesus fucking Christ!
yes,
American car.
your
A
people.
coolant line burst. It cost me $10 in a parking lot at AutoZone to fix it. I had a coolant line burst in my Volkswagen. It cost $600 in 2 weeks to fix it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You just
Even though we're on two radically fucking different scales with what we're doing, there's not a single guy at my shop that doesn't know how to build an AK. Even though, like, even if there's no
That's
just like
awesome.
dedicated like
No, it's awesome.
engineering spot, it's like everybody does kind of a little bit of everything, or at least knows how
Yes.
to, and I think that helps so fucking much.
So much, but also, you know, like I can't demand that quality control and production and machining respect the engineers. You know, they can only command it by like being a part of it. And so that's a great part of the relationship. It's so rare that I have ever had anyone at the company, any of the departments, be like, this fucking engineers, if they would do this and get off their ass. Because if there's any issue, because it's actually separate them because they're so involved. The engineers are so involved in every part of the company because they're the smartest people and they've been there from the beginning. They know how to do everything. That I actually got them their own. We moved into a new building 3 years ago. And within 6 months, I got the engineers their own building, separate geographically, like 3 miles apart. And they have their own machine shop, their own everything. So everybody will leave them the alone so they can design stuff. And so, but if there's a problem, it probably happens, you know, once a day at a company our size. There's a problem in production or QC or whatever. And you don't blink before two of the engineers are over at the building looking at it. And, you know, and being involved. You know, none of them sit behind a desk on their ass all the time. It's just, and if you have that mentality, like, you cannot work at our place.
I think Elon Musk has the same thing where I can't remember if it was Tesla or SpaceX. I think it was SpaceX, where he said that the engineers weren't like separated in their own area. They were on the fucking assembly floor. He's like, you're behind like a fucking curtain while they're blasting, you know, Def Leppard out on an assembly line, and then you've got a row of dudes at computers. It was just that integrated because they talk to each other.
I think that makes a huge difference on every level, is that everyone's blending in together. Now, hey, this doesn't make sense. Why? You get to see it really quick. It's like, oh, let's fix that and roll out.
Yeah.
God, I love it. I fucking love that. Just that is like the perfect business model. Is like everyone's just crushing life.
I don't know.
And
I
you're
feel
just
like that would be-
dedicated to the craft versus hand it off, make your money, and then you'd watch quality control go to shit. Like
Yes.
a year.
But when these try me, I'm like, what do I think I could sell the company for right now? But no, it is.
Daddy
I mean,
needs a new plane.
yeah. I mean, I think I should be way richer than I am. But I have all these 17 children that I take care of. But no, I mean, for business wise, I mean, I think it's why we're all so passionate about it. And Mitch wouldn't leave. You couldn't get Nick or Ethan to leave. Any of the key people, they wouldn't take other jobs anywhere. They just wouldn't.
My guys might leave.
Your guys probably would. Well, they see you balling out with a Rolls Royce. And
Oh yeah, Rolls Royce for sure. That screams me right there.
I saw it. I saw you getting out of it today.
Brendan rolled up in a diamond encrusted Tesla today.
Wild.
Up until actually when I was in Texas, up until like 3 or 4 years ago, I was driving around in the fucking $3,000 flooded out Dodge 2500. You remember that?
Holy shit! You drove here in that piece of shit.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
it was a flood car, had like no functioning AC, radio didn't work. I remember driving down to Florida at one point. My AC was I rolled the windows down and I had a free water from McDonald's that I was pouring on myself to stay cool.
This is like that white chick that tried to pretend she was black and was part of the NAACP. I don't believe this shit at all.
Eli was there for it. He fucking remembers that.
You
day.
would have an afro if that was the situation.
Dude, he pulled up during the winter storm in Texas, like the San Antonio, like we are shut down storm. He pulled up into that. Pulled up, and then you tried to leave, and then you walk back in like 2 hours later. You're like, it's not going anywhere. We're just gonna stay here
No,
tonight.
we got re-snowed in that night. That was
I forgot you drove in on that.
So because it was we drove in on the night of the big snowpocalypse. Literally, as we got to Houston, the first snow started to fall. Got snowed in that night, and we had 3 days.
Houston.
Or in San Antonio. By the time we made it to San Antonio, we were snowed in. This brand new house I just got, fucking no food in the refrigerator, no nothing. All the stores are closed. So like,
And no power. Like
3 days
anywhere.
Shout out to Texas. They have their priorities in line. The liquor stores were open.
Yeah. Well,
That was the only thing that was
You
open.
can forget
though.
about all the other stuff. I mean, you can forget you're hungry if you drink it.
I was just about to say, I'm not hungry. I got whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, it's calories or calories, man.
So about a week ago, I was hunting, and so my tracker's name is Whitey. And I post him a lot on my Instagram, and occasionally I get some little Karen bitch send me some message about how racist I am because I'm calling him Whitey, and I'm like, he had that name 40 years before I got to Africa. like, shut up.
You named him, Kevin.
What a rude nickname, Kevin.
We have a fridge in the cruiser, and he's supposed to keep drinks and some snacks and stuff in it. And the other day, it was late afternoon. The hunt's kind of over, and I'm like, "Hey, Whitey, man, hand me a snack. What'd you out of the cooler?" And he just hands me a bottle of Jack Daniels. He's like, "I said a snack." He says whiskey. He forgot to pack the snacks. I was like, "He gets it. That's why
He got
my
the
man."
essentials.
He's like, "You might be hungry, but you can forget in half a bottle, my man."
Holy shit. We need to schedule still next year, like all of us going out
I'd be down.
to Africa and hunting with you and just document that entire
Just
experience.
thinking, Kevin doesn't get the shakes if he doesn't
Terry's
eat his
saying
peanuts.
no. Terry says no.
It'd be the best, but it'd be awesome. Awesomeness.
Well, you keep saying Africa. Whereabouts in Africa do you hang out?
My house is in South Africa in the Eastern Cape in the mountains, a couple hours north of Port Elizabeth. And then I've got a beach house in a town called Impequinny, which is between East London and Port Alfred on the Indian Ocean. But I hunt all over sort of West Africa and Southern Africa.
I'll say, yeah, because I heard you bounce up to like Tanzania and
Yeah, so I was just in Cameroon a few months ago on a hunt. And it's cool. Like the more I'm there, like people contact me that see the hunting stuff and they'll be like, "Oh, how dangerous is it in South Africa?" And I'm like, "I live in New Hampshire and I don't have locks on my house in Africa." Like, you thinking South Africa is dangerous? It's, Johannesburg or Durban or whatever. It's like any big city in the world. There's like shit neighborhoods. But like where I live, there's not a town for an hour. It's the safest place on the planet. But so what it's done is like I have this love affair now with like wild Africa.
yeah,
Like where you'll be 12 hours from a town. And, or you're in Cameroon or the Congo or somewhere. And like, it is dangerous, but I'm like, I love it. This is my place. It's fun. Like Africa is just different, man. I'm telling you, you guys are so fortunate. I'm so proud of y'all, honestly. It will change your lives going to Africa for a week. I swear it is. If I didn't have the company and the employees that I love, I would never come back. And I love America. Like, I'm not hating on America. I fucking love it here. But I'm so free in Africa, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, Terry's been all over the world, too, and had an awesome life.
It's just a whole different world. It's like the U.S. in the 30s and 40s when you just had freedom, and you could do what you want. People were awesome. And the danger doesn't come from the people. The danger comes from the environment.
No.
You could drink raw milk.
Whatever else.
Yeah.
So you can drink raw milk there.
Out of a goat. But it is, and it's beautiful. It's like where I live, it's like the mountain. My house is on the side of a mountain, and it's 6,000 feet elevation behind it. And it's just, every view is incredible. And the property that I live on, there's 25 species of game that you can hunt that free range there. So like I can drive you around for a day and you'll see 500 animals in the wild. Like, it's unbelievable. So even within Africa, even within South Africa where I live, is the best place in the world for free range hunting and diversity of species. And it's just so beautiful. I mean, I'm there for a week, and I mean, I catch myself all the time with big glass in the mountainside looking for animals and stuff. And I just like start daydreaming, looking around, and I'm like, I am the luckiest guy in the fucking world. Like, why don't more people do this? Like, I just made a conscious decision a few years ago that, you know, you think about, okay, you build a company, the thing to do is sell it. And I'm like, well, like, building a company is hard. You know, I've done it twice. It's difficult, and I don't mind being uncomfortable, which I think I didn't realize, but as time's gone on and I have a lot of employees over time, and it's like, I'm okay being more uncomfortable than a lot of people. And I also know, like, I'm never going to starve to death in America. Like, you can't starve to death in America. Like, it's easy.
No.
You know what? No, you can't. You can't starve to death in America unless you want to.
Well,
But, you know, in Africa, there's a consequence. Like, you can. And I don't, it's just so.
There's no safety
it's
nets.
So free. No, there's not.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a shit. Which I think is the way the world should be, right? Like, it's great out in the country. The neighbors are great. You know, all the natives there, the Xhosa people are fucking wonderful. It's like country people everywhere in the world. They're just good. And it's just so relaxing. And I just see myself there. And like kids, it's like, yeah, like America maybe in the 50s. Like, kids are still kids. You know, I live on a friend of mine's family's ranch, which is hundreds of thousands of acres. And he's got, so my house is about 300 meters from his, and he has 3 young kids. And like, when I say young, I think the oldest daughter is 13. And it would be like a 7-year-old here. She's still a kid. She doesn't have a cell phone and, you know, just all this bullshit social media and things.
so they don't have access to the internet, cell phones, modern culture? How will they know they're gay?
You know, it's like the good old days. You had to experiment to figure it out.
You had to have that one experience in college, just like the good old days, you know?
Well, I don't like that. That tasted bad.
It's like Jody Plauché.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I'm not gay. Sucked a dick, didn't like it.
Jesus fucking.
So yeah, it's sort of still scratch and sniff there, you know.
It's literally just everyone having the time of their life.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, what I would say was, I decided I don't ever want to sell my company. Like, I don't care about like the value or whatever, because my company, like, I have the greatest job in the world. It provides me with so much fulfillment. And then I just decided I'm not going to, like, working for a retirement is fucking stupid. Like, it's super gay. Like, I'm just...
It's not regular gay.
It's the extreme.
Now kids.
Yeah. But so I just am retired half the time. Like, I go and do what I want because I'm never going to stop working. So who am I kidding?
Yeah.
It's like my job doesn't require me to be, you know, like, I'm not a Navy SEAL. I don't have to, you know, stay fit or stay young. I could be an old man, still do my job. And so, like, why would I ever stop? It's so fulfilling. And then, so, okay, I'll just semi-retire now, and I just go to Africa and do all this shit. And it costs me a ton of money, but, like, I'm not going to, like, what the f- am I going to do? Like, retire and sit around? Like, that's not a thing.
Ugh, we've talked about that many times. That would be fucking the most mine.
Yeah.
A day without work is insanity. We had Sunday off. Like, we landed Saturday. Everyone was dead, white, boom. And then Sunday was like, oh,
No work.
I think we had one reset day. That's it.
And it's still like I'll answer emails and catch up on the shit I missed during that. And then right on Monday, it's back into the flow of everything.
I flew to Africa.
And you're back at the grind. And then it's like, oh, and
17 hours
Tuesday.
for titties, as it turns out.
I'd go 47.
Full circle around the planet.
I mean, I love titties so much. I wish bitches had 3.
We're learning kinks
Like
today.
the chick from
Total
Recall.
I don't want to see your IG reel. There's a lot of 3 titty girls on there.
I'm going straight to Mars with the 3 titty bitches.
When Elon takes us to Mars, you're gonna fly a couple thousand hours for titties.
I'm going to be the first one on the flight.
Buying a girl tits, and you're like, "Hey, doc, okay, she's down. Okay, I'm gonna pay you extra. It's $5,000. Put one in the middle. It's for me."
He's gonna land on the colony in Mars. Those bastards lied to me.
I want to go home.
When's the next time you're going out? When do we go? When do we visit you?
When's the best time to visit?
I will go in. I love basically March until June, and then it depends like your tolerance for weather. Because it snows where my house is. Like we can hunt in the snow if you come in July.
No
which
shit.
is wild hunting African animals in the snow. But so kind of mid-March to June, and then I don't know, September, October. But anytime you guys can go, we'll go.
March? How's March? Weather good?
March is awesome. It's my favorite time. It's the fallow rut. And my buddy's family that I live on, his family's from Scotland. They were gifted the land by the Queen 200 years ago. And they brought fallow deer to South Africa, and they free range now and thrive in the fallow rut. Is so fun. And you go on a hunt in America, you get to shoot one animal. I shot 24 fallows in the rut last year.
But you also got kicked off the ranch.
I did. I got kicked out of the conservancy.
Why?
Because I fucking get after it, dude.
Kevin, stop out! What? Don't tell me try! What did he do?
Sorry, I'm an overachiever.
Well, there's a quota for animals, and like if I'm there first, like I see the quota. It doesn't say quota for Kevin. It says here's the quota. Like I pay the bill.
Those families are in. It's like I can't wait. Kill them all.
But I did. So it like
You're like the kid at the Easter egg hunt that's pushing other kids down.
But at 24, they're like, we're gonna have to have a talk. What? And I was like, well, I thought the quota was 32. Well, it is. I was like, why are we talking? Save some for the rest of everybody. Like, what? Like, I pay my bills. I don't know.
Can you ship any of the meat home, or is that
Not meat, no, but the trophies. But I don't ship anything back.
What do you guys do with the meat?
Hippo you can eat. Depends. We eat a lot of it. I mean, it's the only source for meat there. But there's 100-person staff on the ranch because we do cattle as well. And so we feed the staff. And then any that's left, like when my guys come over, because we fucking ball and we can shoot.
Drunk Kevin's coming out. The last podcast is when I ball. That's exactly what I was like.
Oh,
Drunk
the quote
Kevin.
was, Daddy's a pirate.
But so there's so much excess that you sell. So there's an orphanage in the closest town too, which we provide meat to. But then
I thought you were just going to say you hang your trophies there.
Is that fancy?
Brag about it.
little poor kids. No, but you can. So you sell it to a butcher, and they sell it to restaurants and stuff. So
Yeah.
like in South Africa, you can eat the wild game in restaurants and get it at the butchery.
That's pretty cool.
So when we're there, like we might shoot, depending on what we're doing, 100 or 150 animals in a month.
Oh, shit.
And so it's more meat than we need for the staff and for us. So then we'll sell it, and it gets consumed, or we'll just feed all the staff in the valley.
It's kind of cool. Whenever we go to Ox Ranch, like sometimes at their like in-house kitchen there, because they'll have animals that die on property or just extra leftover or whatever. They have a menu there, and then sometimes they just have wild game burger, and you just ask the chef like, "What's it today?" And they're like, "Oh, it's zebra," or whatever it is.
They always lie to you. Just don't even ask. They always
Mystery
do.
meat. No, it was a fucking 3-day-old ostrich we found on the side of the road.
Ostrich is good.
Hippo's Hippo's really good.
Hippo's really good.
You want to shoot Modang?
I do, that little fucking hippo. No, I don't.
I'm glad Cody's not here.
They have dwarf
guys would get in a
hippos in
fight.
Cameroon.
What's that?
They have dwarf hippos in Cameroon.
Do they?
Everything is so wild. Yeah, the jungle in Cameroon, the forest. So they have little 3-inch long squirrels too. It's crazy. But that's where the pygmies live, the people. And so you hunt with them. And like a little 80-pound pygmy man can carry 200 pounds on his back.
How tall are they?
Like 4'6", 4'5".
I don't believe you.
It's true.
There's video.
There's video on my.
How can an 80-pound man carry 200 pounds?
I mean, look at ants.
They're stronger than you.
Connor, they're born and they're working by the age of 2. It's like you can crawl.
I think like what would you say like per size they have to be the strongest people on the planet.
Really?
It's amazing. Yeah, like on the back of the truck, they'll reach up and grab the rack, just pull themselves up with one hand. Like a
so
monkey or
good.
something. They're like so strong. It's incredible.
Well,
yeah.
There's a video of them ripping a man apart. Oh God, they are like monkeys.
I mean, they're just so tough. But so there's dwarf buffalo, there's dwarf elephant. So the forest elephant are half the size of regular elephants. And there's dwarf hippo.
Are they way more aggressive?
Yeah. And I don't know. It's because they're small. It's just the jungle is like makes you angry.
Oh yeah. And if you're getting hunted because you're smaller,
I'm trying to find it. Like they're also just super fucking skinny. Like I'm thinking of like what a small like 4-foot man would look like carrying 200 pounds.
It's on my Instagram. You can see it.
No
from
shit.
My last hunt, I did a forest buffalo and a bongo, and so we walk. So the forest is so thick, the paths will be very narrow and just one guy, and you can't even like jump into the bush. It's so thick, and it's a triple canopy like jungle. It's gnarly. Like it'll be 130 degrees, but you never see the sun all day. Like once you enter the forest, it's like you can't ever see the sun.
that's terrifying. Also,
It's so great. Every snake in Cameroon's venomous too. There's like 30
beautiful.
species.
they're watching.
That's the carrying all the packing out the meat.
So when we were 11 kilometers so that's 6 hours in. And when I shot the bongo or the buffalo, I can't really tell which one that is. Excuse me. There's bark that they use for the straps, but they make baskets. They make backpacks there when you shoot it. And then the only thing they don't carry out are the stomach contents. So the buffalo weighs 850 pounds. The only thing they left were the stomach contents, and 4 of them carried everything else out. So you start doing the math.
There, Eli.
And the bongo, so
Dude, oh my God, I'm gonna have to show Matt
like
Frazier
when they
this.
get down on the ground, you have to help them get up generally. But then once they're up, they just go, and you can't keep up with them. So
These are like, geez, that last one. This,
and like their waist is like this big, like they're tiny.
They're
little
approximately the size of Eli.
yeah, dude. If we get these
people.
guys
Eli
on,
is a giant there.
if we get these guys on steroids and CrossFit, we will have champions.
I thought when I was there,
Trend out pygmy.
They just new CrossFit world champs. It's like we found
whole
them.
buffalo.
well, you know what I thought when I was over there is if you started like a pygmy UFC league in Cameroon, it would be the best fights in the entire world.
25 featherweights.
Yeah, dude, I guarantee there'll be monsters in the ring.
Destroy them. Like those
Weighing in at 75 pounds.
It's just on their head, bash.
40 kilos.
Ultra featherweight.
That
100-pound maximum.
Wild.
Yeah, it's cool. So Africa's wild, man. I mean, just this one place in Africa right there, the Congo and Cameroon, there's all these dwarf animals. Like everything is half size. The people, the animals, everything.
That is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's like, how's that happen? I don't know.
And you can shoot hippos there.
Yeah.
And it apparently tastes really fucking good. That's why I always hear. That's why I'm like,
hippo's the closest thing to be. Like when you shoot, there's a few animals that you can be so remote. There's not a village anywhere around. Like you shoot an elephant or you shoot a hippo or certain things, you know, you start gutting that thing, you turn around and there's like 60 people with buckets there. Yeah. So yeah, hippo is like the prize meat. It's delicious.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, like that, you always like innately feel bad thinking that it's like endangered because we never see it.
Oh shit.
But like, I didn't realize this, but like iguanas in Florida,
Yeah.
like people shoot those all the time because they're just an
They're a
invasive
nuisance.
pest. But you never see an iguana, so you just assume like, oh, I guess you can't shoot that. But they shoot them fucking all day long.
And then hippos are aggressive as they
Yeah.
kill way more than alligators. Like
They're
territorial.
They
Territorial as
it's
fuck and
pro-
fast.
It's probably the number one thing, that and crocs, that kill natives in Africa.
It's number 2 when you count mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
malaria. Hell of
Yeah,
a
malaria. Yeah, mosquitoes are number 1, and then hippos, and then crocs.
And hippos running like 30 miles per hour.
Or faster.
You seen how fast they fucking swim?
Yeah, they're little fucking.
Oh, they run like they're always touching the bottom. Joe.
yeah, they're just top.
So that's
they're
what they're doing.
bouncing.
So if you see like a hippo, like if you get all the fat and everything off of it, it is like shred, and it's like, oh, that's how that thing runs so fast. Just has all this like fat on it, so it can be very buoyant and stuff. But yeah, if you hippo in the water is like it'll chase your boat and fuck you up. But the hippo on land, if you get when it goes out to feed, you get between it and the water. Yeah, hippo hunts are very exciting when that happens because you have to dome it. Like it's gonna fuck you up, so you have to dome it.
Oh, we are going for like a week or two.
And a hippo is like what, 5,000 to 6,000 pounds. It's about the size of a Land Cruiser. They're very big.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what
That is
terrifying.
almost as heavy as the Cybertruck.
Yeah, they're the weight
That's
of a
fucking
car.
crazy.
Yeah.
Have you watched them pop watermelon? They just put the watermelon, just the gums. Like,
This has
And if you
devolved into
run
the
from
Joe
it,
Rogan
they can-
podcast.
I love it, dude. I fucking
Jamie,
love it.
pull up a video of a chimpanzee.
Hairless chimpanzee.
Dude,
I'm here for it.
And even in the jungle, the gorillas, they're the lowland gorillas, not the mountain gorillas. They're half the size too. But seeing a gorilla in the wild is
Terrifying.
the craziest thing you ever see.
Half of these things sound like slurs, and I'm trying to keep up. I don't know.
I'm racist.
I don't know
bleep out gorilla.
who should be offended by what. Yeah.
Just that's how we get Kevin canceled. It's bleeping out gorilla.
Bitch, you can't cancel me.
We know.
I don't know anybody money.
Now big cat hunting is absolutely terrifying. That is the one thing everyone always stresses. Is like, oh yeah, like cat hunting is the one thing where it's like these will fuck you up if you're in like high brush or anything.
Well, I don't know. Like I've hunted cats and I've hunted everything now, and I'm very careful to not make a bad shot on a cat, because a cat, like, they're not tough animals to kill, but if you wound a cat, if you wound a leopard especially, it's extremely dangerous to go after it because they don't warn you. They're small enough. They'll be 100 to 200 pounds. They can hide very easily. But where like a lion, you wound a lion and he runs into the bush, it's very dangerous, but they'll typically 99% of the time warn you when you get close. So you know, and they'll warn you when they're going to charge.
Why do they do that?
How do they do it?
I don't know. They just like roar at you. And like you can, like a cat roars at you 100 yards away, you feel it in your chest. It's unbelievable. Like a lion is a 550-pound cat. I mean, a lion can just slap your head off your body, but a leopard, it's 100 stitches a second when it's on you.
Fuck.
But
that.
so leopard is scarier to me than a lion, and lions are like predictable. So yeah. I mean, I've been fucked up by some, but never 100 stitches a second. I ain't gonna lie.
Make that mistake twice.
Man, shouldn't have flown 17 hours for that one.
Boobies, man, you're safe. No, but yeah, the cat hunting is, and people are sensitive to it, but it's just like what you say, iguanas or elk or anything else.
Yeah.
Like where they are and you can hunt them, generally there's an overpopulation, just like elephants. And most people, elephant, like, I didn't even actually care about animals growing up in the city until I started hunting. And I have such a love affair, like with all the African species or here, like whether it's whitetail or whatever, I have a much greater appreciation for animals. And all the real conservation comes from hunters. That's all the money. All the greeny stuff is bullshit.
Yep.
And like you have to manage the populations. Like elephants, go to Kruger National Park now. It's destroyed and it's ruined because they won't manage the elephant population. And there are no trees standing in Kruger anymore. So now there's no kudu, there's no other animals. And now the elephant, the poor thing's like, it's such a magnificent animal, but like they get 9 sets of molar, like teeth in their lifetime. And so they need to eat a lot of green. Well, there's no green because the trees aren't growing in Kruger National Park now, the most beautiful, incredible place on the planet 20 years ago. And so now the elephants are eating bark and they're eating limbs. And so now their molars, like an elephant in the wild in Africa traditionally will live 55 to 60 years. And now they live 40 years because they wear their molars down and, 2/3 the time they used to. And it's fucking sad to see. And, like they won't acknowledge it. Like the greenies won't acknowledge it. It's like, you should never shoot an elephant. Well, you're going to cause them all to die. And it's sad.
It's one of the things that when I did that elk hunt, it was about a year ago, we went up to Utah. Honestly, like you were talking about, like where you just like start daydreaming and looking off, like it is some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life, where I was just sitting there like falling asleep on the side of a mountain waiting on an elk with
wonderful.
Cody and them. And like I felt more in touch with nature in that moment than I ever fucking have been in my entire life.
No cell phone, no nothing.
But the way that they treat it out there is they're like, look, we're looking for elk that are about this age where it's like, man, everything in their life after that is all downhill.
Yeah, they're past their prime.
Yeah, it's like they've already peaked. Everything from now on is just going to be sad and a downhill decline until they die of starvation because they can't eat.
It's like big game
And so
hunting.
you're just harvesting.
Yeah, big game hunting. That is one of the things they don't understand. Is like hunters are paying big dollars, and it's not just like I got this trophy. That's it. It's like, hey, this is feeding everyone a village. Also, it's taking care of overpopulation, and usually the alpha is out of cycle.
Yeah,
until it run it off.
Yeah, and I think it's even like bigger to me. And like I like to kill stuff. I don't know what that says, but I do like it. I don't mind.
I feel that's innate a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's Donnie Vincent, who's a great hunter and tells a great story of any of his videos. The cinematography is incredible. And he's got this really great line about he's a real conservationist. And if you are alive today, at some point, like in your lineage, there were great hunters, or you wouldn't be here. They all starved to death. Mm-hmm. And you start thinking about that, but that connection with nature, and it starts to sound all weird and hippie-ish, but if you haven't experienced it, and I think it's one thing, me spending time in Africa in places like you're talking about, like whether it's, Utah or Idaho and remote places hunting elk or whatever, you just feel this connection. But Africa makes me realize I love America, but how stupid some things have gotten, and how like we're chasing this thing that doesn't really exist here. Like, why does it matter? Like, once you get a certain amount of money, like being poor sucks. I get that. I like having money more than I like being poor. But over a certain amount, it doesn't matter. Like, what are you chasing? Like some kind of status or this or that? And you don't know the freedom of it if you've not gone and done it. Being out in nature in a wild place and seeing these things. Not just like, I love YouTube and I love looking up all the things I can see now, but there's no replacement for going and seeing the Grand Canyon or going and experiencing these things. And I spend months there at a time, and we have gotten life wrong in America. Like, as far as, okay, work hard, do all this, make a bunch of money, get a beach house, retire one day. It's like, you should enjoy every day. Like we create all this stress here, it seems like, for just bullshit. And look at all things like you guys and all of us that are, I think, have a reasonable mind, like mocking all the trans shit. Like, we come up with things to about. Like, how up is that?
It's the Dostoevsky thing where it's like, oh yeah, well, if you had nothing if you had no real problems to solve, you will find them.
Yeah.
It's like, and I feel like that's where we fall into. It's like we just, if you look 200, 300 years ago, what problems were they trying to solve? It's like, okay, those are real motherfucking problems.
Living day to day.
Yeah.
It's like, now we live in the most racist country in the world. It's like,
and it's
look at how things were 200 years ago anywhere.
Also, we're struggling day to day. It's really hard. Everyone's dying. Terry, I guarantee you have one of the best outlooks on life because you're like, man, we have it so good here.
U.S. is way fucking easy.
It is.
Go live in a place where there's no value on life. Yeah, it's funny where you think Americans are so self-righteous about Africa. The real racism in Africa, as someone who, I think I'm half South African now, I'll say, but
you're one of my favorite African Americans, in fact.
But lives there, the causes, the natives in the South. So they're a mixture of the original natives now, and then when the French Huguenots came there, and then the Dutch came there and everything, and the Zulu in the north, like Shaka Zulu, like what a great freaking general and warrior he was, like incredible, you know, like pretty horrific shit he did, but he was effective. And the Zulu and the Xhosa, like they're racist. Like when we, like as an American, we would think, oh, apartheid is so bad and whites don't treat blacks well over there, natives well. It's like, there are no problems between the whites and the natives. Like the Xhosas and the Zulu hate each other. Like, and it's all just race based. Right? Like you're not truly black anymore. You know, you're Xhosa.
The Europeans showing up and just drawing lines on the map.
Yeah.
I mean, this is now South Africa.
You're talking about a continent where in the last 50 years there was a machete genocide. Like that.
It's terrible.
There's some real shit.
You'll see, like on some of the ranches I've heard of, it's like if they generally won't have like Zulu and Xhosas working in the same ranch, because eventually there's going to be murders.
Yeah.
And it's never like, you know, what we would make movies about in America. Like
you try to
the
segregate.
evil white man. And it's not like, no, they'll get in an argument over like potatoes in the garden. Those are mine. And next thing you know, in the morning they come get you. One of them stabbed the other one and killed him. It's like over potatoes.
And this is not like I cannot stress
it
that
is not.
You see that when you go to countries like that, third world countries. That is like life is a completely different meaning. It's one of the hardest things to get across, because in everyone's head you think, oh, that's a bad person. That's not even evil. It's like taking a life is just like breathing, and they don't.
Life
there
is invaluable there.
Yeah, there's no
Eli,
consequence.
Disney taught me that they're just like us. We're all alike. We're all the
You
same.
know how great it would be if like everyone either had like mandatory service, or you go live in a third world country for 3 years and serve somehow.
The U.S. in the 1850s.
What's it?
U.S. in like the 1850s.
Oh, yeah.
It was like survive, provide for your families. If you didn't, you would die.
Yeah.
That's South Africa. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But the U.S. is so successful on the GDP side that we just give things to people.
Yeah, so I'm saying you can't starve here.
So people, like, across the board, people are people.
Yeah.
They're going to survive. They're going to provide for the families. They're going to protect. It's just
What they have to do to achieve that's completely different.
it just offset by like prosperity.
I don't know. I feel like at a certain level, biologically, you're wired for a certain amount of adversity. Where like you're always going to survive, you're going to fight, you're going to do everything so that you can feed your family and you can provide. But when that adversity is not there, your caveman brain is going to find adversity fucking somewhere, even if it doesn't exist.
Well, we were talking about
I'm going to fucking work out to make it harder for myself.
Yeah.
A side effect, you get jacked. That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean,
Just wanna split
that being
logs.
said, look at how soft we are. Like you spend time in nature too, and you realize, oh my Lord, humans are good thing we're smart, because we'd have been dead a long time ago. Like we're so weak, pathetic now.
Oh, bro, I always think about it. I was like, man, if we lost internet and power and everything, I'd be like, okay, what am I good at? Okay, well, I'm going to acquire a lot of stuff the easy way.
Guns, some ammo.
Good, your neighbor's like, wow, thanks for stocking up on food.
Otherwise, it's going to suck. I watch people like Outdoor Boys. I love watching that dude. And he has his kids out there like staying out in the wilderness. But that dude is... If you haven't seen his YouTube content, I think we've talked about it multiple times.
Yeah, he kicks ass.
Dude, he just goes out there, nerdiest looking dude. He's like, oh, we're just going to go camp out in negative 40 degrees in Alaska. No tent this time. We're doing a new method, so I'll find this stump, and then I'll build it out, and then 2 days he'll stay out there and do that.
That's tough. That's strong mind. I mean, that's the way men need to be, though. I mean, we're just getting so weak.
That's fucking, yeah, I would die. That's how I get humbled. I was like, man, I would die so fast
Eli
in the cold.
hates being cold.
Dude, I fucking despise
He's
it.
like basic white girl.
Now I
Get
don't
this
have to do
motherfucker
that.
cold or wet, he gives up.
He's not as bad with the wet thing as Nick.
Oh, his wet shoes.
That was so fucking funny.
Wait, what happened?
Nick with his wet shoes. Were you not there? Oh, you weren't there for that.
Nick got his shoes wet in the ocean and he just gave up.
We went when we were there in San Diego. We were at the hotel there on the beach. We all walked to the beach. The fucking wave comes up too fast and gets in his shoes, and he has like a tism fit, and like literally leaves and is just like, I've got to go buy new shoes, and goes. And we're just like, you can. Well, I have a spare pair of that. Okay.
In San Diego.
Love you,
It was
Nick.
so funny. Nick is one of my favorite fucking people, and he's probably one of the better adjusted amongst us. But it's funny to see that tism come out. You're like, I knew it was somewhere.
Oh, he seems tough too. Was that San Diego wet? I thought you were gonna say like, I don't know, like Great Lake wet in December.
Get his fucking shoes wet. He'll freak the out.
He loves the cold. That dude's like, I don't know why you guys don't move to Iowa. It's fine up here. So I just moved to Iowa. There's
He
like,
doesn't talk like that, like at all.
it's Nick's new voice.
But speaking about that racial divide in Africa, where you have like those, I guess, combative interactions between locals, are you like, we can cut this if it doesn't fit, but can you tell that story about when that did actually escalate to violence at that ranch?
Well, I know of several stories. I mean, it's kind of what I said. Like, it's always this undertone of the different, like, I guess you would say racist there. The Xhosas and the Zulu, they're both very offended by one of them being in charge of the other. It's very offensive to them. And so it always ends up in some violence. And so like, I think as a ranch manager owner, you have to be like aware of that.
Yeah.
It's just like in the Xhosa culture, like Nasipo, our cook, she's a 55-year-old Xhosa woman, is so incredible. Well, in their culture, she's in charge. It's sort of like in some Middle Eastern cultures, like the eldest woman is in charge. And so it's just this weird dynamic, and it always escalates in they tend to drink a lot. And so ranches that'll allow them to drink, like at the ranches, it tends to, like a lot of stuff, it escalates things. But one that I can think of is these 3 guys that worked on a ranch. They lived in a little house together on the ranch staff housing. And so it's 2 Xhosas and 1 Zulu. And so the most senior guy was a Xhosa guy, and the Zulu guy didn't like it, him being in charge. And so that night they go home, they start drinking and cooking, and one wanted potatoes and one wanted, what's the name of this stuff? It's like grits that they have. I always forget the name, but like a sort of like a corn grit sort of thing. So one wanted potatoes, one wanted that. And so they're drinking and they start arguing over it. And so the Zulu guy just takes the old butcher knife and gets in between the ribs there, and it's like, we're having potatoes. And then they go to the...
That is wild, escalation.
He goes to the ranch, and this is like common within that, but it's always that sort of crime. It's very rarely towards like white people there. It's just they don't like each other. And so the ranch owner, he was telling me, and he says, yeah, the Zulu guy wakes him up in the morning, and he's like, Mr. R, we need, there's a situation. Says, well, what the fuck is it? Come see, so-and-so's hurt. Like, oh shit. Okay. Go down there. He's cold. He had died 12 hours earlier.
Very dead.
And just lying in the kitchen floor with all the dried blood and everything. And he's like, what happened? And he tells him quickly what happens. And Mr. R just says, we don't have a problem. You have a problem. And just went out the door, locked him in the cottage. And so made him sit in there, call the police, tell them there'd been a murder. It took him a day and a half to get there.
God.
He made him stay in there, wasn't the whole, but it's like that kind of senseless shit. And that's the thing you see in third world countries, that as Americans were generally immune to it. Like that's not gonna, like, your Uncle Rodney and whatever, cousin Kip might get in a little argument and smack one another, but no one's stabbing each other in the kitchen and killing them. This was over potatoes.
Not typically.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's that kind of stupid shit. Well, another story, like my PH was telling me several years ago in Zambia, they shot an elephant, and the local village comes to...
PH?
The professional hunter. So
Okay,
it's like
got it.
your guide. He was saying, and he was a young guy back then, and they shoot an elephant, and generally in most of Africa, the elephant, like you get the hide, and you get like the skull and the tusk. But like the meat will belong to the local villages. And that's just, in most places, probably sort of just a handshake deal, or it's just what they do to support the villages. And to keep them from poaching all the elephants, like we'll feed you, so don't poach everything. Excuse me. Because a lot of people don't understand, like lions and elephants and hippos and all, like they're going to be poached out of existence if there's not hunting, because there is no value other than meat to any of the native villages. Like you think about a 500-pound cat living in your yard. Like, you know, because they all raise, thank you, cattle and goats. And so if you're a lion and you live there, it's like, oh, all you got to do is live over there in the bush. You just jump this little fence, you grab you a little calf every day and you're good. And so they snare them and kill them all. So there's no value to a lion if they're not hunted by natives. But so anyway, they shoot this elephant, the village comes, and so they're skinning it to get the hide and get the skull, and then they're done, and then it belongs to the village. And they start just taking the meat, and they have, you know, machetes and axes and knives. And so once they gut it and get everything out, then the elephant's so big, they go into the rib cage and start cutting the meat out. And then guys go on top, and women, and they're cutting meat off the ribs and everything, and then hacking the ribs off with an axe. And he's sitting there watching them as they're loading up the hide, and the guy with the axe misses the ribs, hits somebody square in the head, below him, kills him dead. They do not stop. He comes down off the rib, gets the guy, drags him out, lays him down, and goes back to hacking the rib.
Jesus.
And it's like no one stopped to acknowledge it. And like that's like reality over there. Like that's the value of life in a lot of those places. Like that meat is so valuable to them. Yeah, and it's just shit like that happens all the time. Like you don't think about it. Like it's just not the way we live here.
No.
Yeah.
That's what. Wham! Damn it.
And he said no one else stopped doing anything. And the guy just came down and drugged the dude out and laid him down and then went back to...
Much like Indians with trains.
Just all loaded on. Well, we lost a few good men on that journey.
How inconvenient.
Oh, shit.
God, I cannot wait. That is one place I truly look forward to.
Oh.
Like,
hey, if it'll change Hemingway and Roosevelt's lives, it'll change yours.
how long do we do, Brandon?
I'm down for he was saying in the airport like at least a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
10 days?
10 days is awesome, but if you can only do a week's great too.
That'd be awesome. No, I appreciate the invite because I really would like to do that. I think that's
I would
a lot of
love
fun.
for you guys to come.
There is internet, so you guys can do your work there.
How is it bringing guns to Africa
It's
and back?
easy. You can't bring semi-autos, but you can have semi-autos in South Africa. And there's no barrel length restriction. So when you're in charge of ATF, as General ATF, then we can do away with short barrel rifles because they don't even have that in Africa. Like,
Yeah. I like, we always joke about how cucked the UK is, but at the same time, it's like, well, to them, having suppressors is just like being decent to your neighbor.
yeah.
It's so stupid.
But taking the guns in and out are easy. But I've permanently exported a lot of guns over there, so there's plenty of guns for hunting and stuff. So
It's like taking a boom box to Africa is not a thing you can do.
No, but we have 2 over there.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, we did it legally. I don't want to sound.
Yeah,
But we
yeah,
had to
yeah.
permanently export them. Like, you can't take them.
That eyebrow raise was a little.
Blur out the eyebrow raise. Just that one black bar.
You can't do it, but there's 2 there.
So
The black bar follows the
Yeah,
eyebrow.
exactly.
So I permanently exported honey badgers, sugar weasels, our AR-based gun,
Yeah.
and then 2 boom boxes. So once it's, and those are all being improved now. Actually, yesterday, Andrew, my buddy who I live on his property, picked up like 16 of the guns. The semi-autos take a little longer for the permanent export once they're there to be licensed than the bolt guns. So... But yeah, so we'll have them there. So yeah, we can, and we do culls, about 3 culls a year in different places to, even though as like spring buck and blessed buck, and some of the animals are selective grazers and they eat the good grass for the cattle. And so we keep those populations down because if you have, 1 blessed buck, then that's 1 cow you can't have up there.
Right.
And so we'll use helicopters to do culls, and culling and helicopters in the mountains. It's fun. Because it's way tougher than like in Texas and flat ground. Like This is, 6,000 feet elevation. The helicopters getting blown over.
Jesus.
We normally do it with the bolt guns, but now we're going to have semi-autos. So good times.
Hell yeah.
I was
Hell yeah.
so fucking stoked for this. This is going to be heavenly to me.
Calculating that spin drift off like an 8.6 plus the rotors has got to be a fucking interesting experience.
It's called Send It.
Yeah.
Walk it
Walk it in.
Walk it in.
Oh, wow.
You
6
got
feet
a
to the right
30-round
low.
mag, man. Just get after it.
Are you just eating all the meat like that you harvest that day, or is like how like what are dinners or meals like when you're?
Oh, yeah. I want to leave Africa with the keto shits.
Good. No, the meals are so good. Like, I actually end up gaining weight over there. I mean, even though I walk up mountains every day, because like I don't eat dessert and a lot of bread when I'm in the States, but the Xhosa women make the best bread in the world, and it's fresh every day, and they have it all there. And then they love desserts, and like all the Xhosa women are like 300 pounds. So like the idea of people starving over there, yeah, not really. Yeah, and so I end up even gaining weight when I'm over there, even though I'm probably burning like 4,000 calories a day. Because she makes me desserts every night. But the food is great because it's all like organic in the sense of it's all free range.
Yeah.
So they're not being, we
RFK approved.
Yeah. So you go kill something, we eat it. But there's a big cooler about the size of this there. So there's so when there's big groups there, we're hunting a lot. That
He pointed at the house.
By the
way.
entirety
That
of
was
the room.
the house and room.
It's about the
living
size
room,
of
kitchen.
a fucking living room.
and kitchen. And
Yeah, it is. And so, sometimes if we shoot an eland or something, we eat the back straps that night, like we'll braai, that's barbecuing in South Africa. But generally, you let it hang for a week or a week and a half and whoo. But yeah, I mean, all you eat is what you kill there. And then we have a garden, so everything from broccoli to peppers or whatever. And, there's no pesticides or used. Like none of the animals are fed bullshit or injected with bullshit. Yeah, no Cheerios or anything. So, like, you eat real clean and it's delicious. Man, those women can cook.
It's like those starving African children. You're describing these like amazing meals. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there at like 2 a.m. with a fucking what is
Cheerios.
it? Uncrustable.
Uncrustable.
More chemicals, please.
Give me the red 40, daddy.
It's interesting. A lot of people that have never been before, because I try to encourage like everyone I know and care about to come over there, and yeah, like even,
And then us.
yeah, and then yes. But even the girls from the office, like they were worried about the food and stuff, and I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like your accommodations there are nicer than your house, that you live in, and then it's like, no, the food is incredible, and they all say if they've never really traveled stuff before, it's like within a week they feel so much better. It's just
American food sucks.
Yeah, you're
Dude,
not
and
eating bullshit.
American food, it sucks when you go overseas and you eat out there. You're like, oh, this is actually when they care about the process. They're buying or cooking it that day. Everything is not refrigerated, iced, and then take time to get to the restaurant.
I love Red 40.
It's so delicious.
We get paid $10 every time we say Monsanto. Monsanto.
Monsanto.
That's why I get so excited doing something like that, because it is an experience. Like, again, it's a bucket list like we never knew we had the opportunity to have on the bucket list, and I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. And it's the hunting when people think about it. Like the reason I love hunting is actually the adventure. That it's cool. Like we shoot stuff that we eat and that's fine. And doing our part for real conservation, because I want, like, if it weren't for hunting, all these animals would be extinct and we'd just like be reading about them. And like I'm building like a conference room, about a 5,000 square foot, like 20-foot ceiling conference room, like trophy room there, and it's all mostly going to be like some aspirational hunts and stuff, like animals that I shoot in Ethiopia or Cameroon or Congo or whatever, in a full body mount so people can see when they go there. Because I want to, when people come over there, to South Africa, it's a pretty, by African standards, a pretty vanilla hunt, plains game hunt, but it's so fun and wonderful. But it's very inexpensive relatively too. But the other animal is full body mounting them, because I want people to come there and see them and be inspired to go to other parts of Africa that need the help too. So forest elephants can survive. They're in just a small area of West Africa, and there's a pygmy elephant. It's half the size, and the day that they stop hunting there, they're extinct. Like the natives will kill all of them. And so to keep hunting in different areas of Africa alive, so these animals will be there in 3 or 4 generations from now, and people can still see them.
It's just like the argument, like, why are cows still plentiful, but the buffalo are almost, extinct in most of the country? It's because nobody owned the buffalo.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Actually, a really good point.
Yeah.
We got wiped those motherfuckers out. America did a real good job with that. It was just like, just kill them all. It's fucking walls. I don't know if Chase put up the picture of, you've seen the buffalo skulls.
The buffalo pyramids.
Yeah. Fucking the most wild photos from back in those days.
I mean, it'd be okay too if they didn't taste good or something, but it's like, whoa, buffalo is so delicious. Man, I wish those things were around.
What do we do?
I know. I mean, cows are so dumb though. If they didn't taste great, we'd probably kill them all. But buffalo, whoo, that's good meat.
So we'll go there, and then Japan. I still want the guys to go visit Japan at least a single time.
We're probably going to do a lot of international travel next year. That'd be good.
We're actually talking about doing a first show out in Canada. We have to test that marketplace because that will be our first outside of the United States.
The worst United States.
The worst of the United
States.
51st state.
The 51st state.
Yeah. 50, wherever we have it. We had Uncle Dijon.
Uncle Dijon
walked.
Yeah.
He pulled up to the border, parked, and walked across to us in Buffalo.
He was worried about his truck tags. So he just fucking walked across.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh, he's a good friend. He
Yeah.
told the story on stage. He knocked on the thing. Hey. They're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Because it was 7 degrees.
Yeah, just stormed. He's like, I'm going to America.
Yeah, I'm just on my way to America.
It's funny because he could have just kept walking.
No shit. He got there and then went back the other way. I was like, oh, thank you.
One of the only snow Mexican illegal immigrants.
The snow Mexicans were big. That was cold as Thank you, Buffalo, by the way. Y'all were fantastic.
It's a good show.
That was, y'all rowdy as shit. They did the stomp thumbs thing. That we didn't hear that entire time until Buffalo.
So many different
high school basketball games.
Yeah.
No, it was their
fucking
thing.
cool, man.
It's Buffalo people throwing people through tables, stomping on the floor. It was a whole fucking
The Bills
thing.
Mafia is wild.
Yeah, Bills Mafia.
I liked it all. None of us knew that cheer Angry Cops did. When he at the beginning, or did you know
That's
that cheer?
a universal thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Man, I don't sports at all. I had no idea what they were sporting.
The chant that they did.
Which?
I don't remember it right off the top of my head. But it
Hey,
was
yo, Buffalo. And then he said something else multiple times, and they were cheering back to his cadence. And we were like, what the fuck is he doing? And then he pulled the table out on stage.
the multiple of us got choke slammed through a table in Buffalo.
Brandon too.
Oh yeah.
Football.
Yeah, Brandon was like, fuck it. That's
Yeah, Rich is just like, come up. I'm like, we didn't rehearse it, didn't mention it at any point. I'm like, f it, sure.
I'm glad you didn't land on your head.
He got half. It didn't collapse. It was but, and the chair went sideways. I was like, yeah, that's
how much it didn't hurt was kind of surprising. It was just it's all showmanship, but it's still fun.
Dude, the crowd went fucking wild on those things. It was quite an experience. And then Connor killed it on stage. Let's forget. I'm like, here, Connor, go. Be on stage with us. It's only 1,200 people.
I smoked cigarettes. That was my whole thing.
On every venue, he lit up a cigarette just to smoke in the theater.
Why wouldn't he?
That's what we were. He took advantage of it.
Amazing. It was a wonderful
thing.
excuse to smoke on stage.
Yeah, it's always allowed when it's part of the act. And funny enough, when he's on stage, it's part of the act.
Dude, doing live shows is a wild experience. It is.
That seems fun.
It is
a good time.
A lot of work and fun at this. It's that weird. It drains your social battery. Most of the guys are introverts.
Yeah.
So it's the most draining experience. You're like, hey, high fiving, talking, getting in front of an audience. Cody's in fear because
I can see that.
Yeah, he does not like public.
But I'm all about high fives, though, man. High five. That's a fucking pick me up, man. It's mandatory. You come into work in the morning, you get a fucking high five. It's a way to start the day.
Kiss on the mouth.
No.
We had some Mexican.
But if you got titties,
HR does not exist anymore.
Mexican titties, any kind of titties.
Dude, we had some dude handed down, like, he brought cookies from a store, and I was like, oh, cookies. And after I ate them, I was like,
Weed.
wow, I should have why am I eating food from a stranger?
And the name on the box?
Yeah, what'd your mama teach you?
half-baked cookies. I was like,
I'm like, oh.
hey, on the balcony.
That's
Were
not
these
cool.
weed? He's like, no. I was like, I'm gonna trust you. Hour, and I'm like, okay, we're good.
I'm gonna trust you, random stranger. You handed me edibles.
Oh, it was terrible. Fucking really good cookies, though.
Well,
Really
most
fucking good.
people, I think, naturally are good, unless they're from Buffalo.
And then Rich drove the Merv.
That was good.
That was. Do you know what the Merv is?
No.
So Angry Cops has a.
It's the morale response vehicle, I believe. It's a fire truck that he bought and converted into, like, it's a mobile bar with a dance floor and everything. It's pretty
He
fucking
sounds
cool.
like the best time. Yeah.
Buffalo.
That's why you go to Buffalo.
Halfway across the country.
Who killed it the most on this tour? Who was on fire?
Everyone, dude. Like,
It was a
everyone's.
good balance, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone has, like, dialed in portions. Like, I think, again, by Boston, we had that show so refined. Everyone got a really good experience because you have from the beginning of Unsub, we come out and then we announce the guests. And when the guests come out, you have Rich during the Hulk Hogan original America song. He walks out with the 2x4. Yeah. Waving a giant flag.
So was Hacksaw Dugan. Jim
Duggan.
Duggan.
Jim Duggan's the one that did it. That's why he's just like, I want that music, I want this. So he'd wave it and then rip his shirt off and then put that down. And then we'd be like, and Carter or King Trout. And you'd walk out and be like, pull your cigarette out, getting ready.
Yeah.
Spill
my,
out
my
the
whole
White
bit's
Claw.
smoking. Yeah. Oh yeah. On the at the one venue where I accidentally spilled fucking White Claws across the stage.
On the perfect comedy beat, though.
It was, yeah, that was on purpose.
And I caught her afterwards.
But the guy backstage was like, dude, you guys have that fucking dialed. How did you, like, sabotage the bag to rip at that moment?
It was an accident. I'm a idiot.
You really upset with yourself?
No. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's like,
I'll never see these ever again in my life.
oh, even if you do, love you. Just get after it.
No, it is a good time. Everyone killed it. Like, the jokes are so dialed in. Everyone's just playing off of each other. The Buffalo show went completely different ways, which is
To be expected with Rich in his home turf.
yeah. We have like sets kind of rehearsed, and then that one was like it was good because people go from like multiple shows. They went from Atlanta to Buffalo.
Really?
Yeah, they went to both shows, and they're like, man, it was a completely different show. We're like, that wasn't on purpose. These just aren't rehearsed, and they kind of just fucking go where they go at the end of the day.
That's so great. I guess if you have one person doing comedy, yeah, that's interesting about a group because if you have an off night or you fuck up, like you don't have like a tribe to support you.
No,
Like it's just
Yeah.
like lions living in a pride. You know, like a leopard's solitary its whole life. It only gets together to bang, and then so if it gets hurt, it can't feed itself. It dies. But you know, you live in a pride. Like a lion gets hurt, it's like fucked up. They'll still give him some food, so he survives. Interesting thinking about it like that.
That's the word that sums up Unsub the best is pride.
Yes. Also, when a joke doesn't land, we like
we
Rich
make fun of each
did a joke, and he looked. I was like, "Yeah, that one really killed it, Rich."
Then it makes it funny.
Yeah, and then everyone starts laughing. Yeah, it was a really good time, and then everyone's like, "Go," because you're on edge because it is live. You're calling out the audience because you don't want cell phones recording anything that is said during the live shows. You're like,
Yeah, because the more cell phones you see, like the lamer the show has to be.
Throws you off.
Yeah.
you reel back them jokes real quick.
Interesting. The
like-
Dave Chappelle bit where he's talking about where he bombed. You know, that, and then it's like, well, if Dave Chappelle can bomb, fuck. by himself, but I love that. I get paid for the attempt.
Y'all paid. I can leave right now. I'm still paid at the end of the day.
Unsubscribed podcast is on par with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's the one. I love the one where I think it was in Philadelphia with Bill Burr, where he just starts roasting the audience. Where like he was gonna leave, he's like, "No, fuck you," and just starts tearing into the town. Was it that or?
Yeah, that was Bill Burr. Yeah, he's like, "Yeah,
It's
you do
also
better, bro."
great. Like,
He's like,
he
"Fuck you, I
doesn't
got
owe
7 more
anybody any
minutes."
money.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever the fuck you want.
But then they loved him for it. Like about halfway through, they're like, "All right, this guy's cool."
Well, he is that character.
Yeah.
And that's what's really good on stage when you have like Rich offsetting. Rich is the one that will like pick on the audience. Like he goes fucking hard. And then you also have like, what's the superpowers? A girl would say her superpower and Connor would be like, you're offset, you're a woman. So how our superpowers work is like, oh, Cody can fly. In order to fly, he has to yell racial slurs. We offset.
Did we ever give Kevin a superpower?
Did you get a superpower when you were here last time?
I think it was something about a giant penis.
That's your superpower?
I think we were all hammered that episode.
Did we give you one? I don't even know if we
remember
did.
the show.
You
We-
fell
we
asleep
give
in my
him a
truck
new-
after that, I think.
I like to party.
He fell asleep someplace else first.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? I think I have a photo on my.
No, I probably don't want to see it.
You fell asleep
It won't surprise me.
at the bar with your sandwich halfway spilling onto the cash register. It's one of my favorite
We
pictures.
had a great day.
It was a
We had
fantastic
good
day.
fucking day. I like. I was just like,
And we were just all like looking at each other like, this is so fucking surreal.
hey buddy, let's go to the car. We just go Ford Raptor. We walked in. Randomly turned on the Raptor, and you're just like, out,
Oh, what good friends you guys are.
dude. Of course, we got your back.
And just like good friends, we took pictures first.
we had to do
should.
that.
And like better friends, we've never put them on the internet.
You guys are gold.
We're gonna keep those. Those are for us. Chase, pull those up. I'll send it to you.
Oh, man.
Just hundreds of thousands of eyeballs. Fuck you.
Oh man.
Dude,
I like fun.
yes, you do. We're going to have Mr. Connor close us out when old Blondie over here. Connor, before you close it out, can you explain that hand-drawn photo that
God.
you're going to hide in your...
You mean the actual photo of his grandfather?
Oh, okay. Well, the Pepperbox exclusive video, which you can see coming up well before this episode of the Unsubscribed podcast is available. Sorry, I'm spitting everywhere. There's a zin in my lip.
Not a potato chip.
Not a potato chip.
Where we show off the gifts we received on the Unsubscribed live tour. I may or may not have gotten a portrait of myself,
Hand-drawn.
where I am an officer of some sort,
I think it's a super sport.
a super sport officer, wearing a uniform designed by who designed the uniforms?
I believe it was Hugo Boss.
Hugo Boss, I
Whoever
believe,
did
designed.
Star Wars.
Yeah, might have been some kind of mensch.
It's like a high five, but
I'm
a
just a
45-degree angle.
Yeah, like the Uber kind of mensch, if you will.
Indians?
Anyway, thank you for watching the Unsubscribed podcast. As always, I'm joined by Eli Doubletap. I am here with Kevin Brittingham, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator, or King Trout, whoever you ask. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Love you guys. Kevin, where do we find you, by the way?
Africa.
Find him at Africa.
Africa.com.
Hashtag Africa. Love you guys. We're going to do an after show. Be like 10 minutes. Patreon. Go check it out. Kisses. Love.
Watch,
Huh?
watch Africa be like a blacked.com kind of site.
Like, no.
Oh, I hope it's gay porn.